Everybody, welcome to What's Up Wednesday. Back in June of 2024, it's hard to believe it was that long ago that I presented on this topic. I talked a little bit about the difference between W-2 based employment and a 1099 contractor. I want to revisit this topic because I'm seeing a lot of noise on LinkedIn around 1099 versus W-2. And amazingly to me, I'm seeing a lot of fairly large third-party safety companies who are posting jobs on LinkedIn and they say 1099 contractor. So I want to touch on this topic for potential competitors watching this What's Up Wednesday and for safety professionals who tend to do contract safety work jobs. So first off, um, it keeps something in mind. I'm not offering legal advice. I'm not a tax accountant, and statutory law varies significantly across different states. But in general, from an employment standpoint, for an employer, if an employer 1099 somebody, you have to be able to justify why they're a 1099 contractor. So an example might be I hire an independent safety consultant who is licensed and insured to go do some work for us. Now, they're invoicing me because they're a legitimate company, but that is what you consider a 1099 contractor. They're not an employee, they're an independent contractor or subcontractor. On the flip side, if I'm telling somebody, if an employer is telling somebody where to go and what they're going to be doing, and they're paying them on a cadence, they have a level of control in that relationship where that employee is an employee. They're not a contractor. And this is where starts to get really sticky. So keeping in mind, employees are covered. We have exclusive remedy if we have workers' comp insurance. And if our employee is injured on the job, then they're going to be covered under workers' comp coverage. Now, it's really important that you have workers' comp coverage. If you don't, and something goes wrong, you're on the hook for all of it. If it's a 1099 contractor as an employer and they get hurt on the job, then they can sue you. They can go after you for everything you have because you're not properly employing them and they're not covered. Also, from the employee standpoint, they're not often covered under your liability insurance, general liability, professional liability, umbrella policies. Generally, those policies don't cover non-employees. Now, you have to look at your policy and your carrier specific language, but oftentimes our policies only cover errors and omissions, mistakes, liability, negligence by our employees, not by our subs. That's why if we hire a subcontractor, we make sure they're insured and we have them list us as an additional insured on their policies in the event that they make a mistake and we end up getting sued. The other thing is that a 1099 contractor is not seeing contributions for state and federal unemployment, and then FICA, which is Medicare and Social Security. So ultimately, none of those things are being taken care of. Now, if you're a safety professional and you're working as a 1099, the advantage to that employer, that third-party safety company is they know exactly what their cost is. If they have a bill rate with their client of, say, I'll just throw numbers out there, $100 an hour, and they're paying their 1099 $75 an hour, they know they're making $25 an hour profit. And the only thing that's going to kind of dive into that's their overhead. If they're employing somebody legitimately as a W-2 employee, then they're paying that employee a wage, and then they're paying all the employment costs, all the payroll costs. So your Medicare, Social Security, your workers' comp, potentially benefits, state and federal unemployment, and they don't have as much control. So I think one of the motivating factors with companies hiring 1099 contractors is it makes it clean and simple for them. However, in the process, they're taking on a ton of liability because they're not covered, so to speak. Now, if I am a safety professional and somebody offers me a 1099 role and I don't have a business license, I'm not incorporated, I don't have insurance, I'm not taking that job. I'm sorry, but it is not legit And these companies, shame on these companies who are doing it, because number one, they're taking on way too much risk as a company. They're not taking care of the people in the field working for them. And just all around, they're creating a very litigious situation where if things go wrong, anything goes wrong, and they do, believe me, they do, then it's going to end up being an absolute mess. Now, oftentimes, the way that this whole thing comes crashing down is that a company hires somebody as a 1099 contractor. That worker goes out and does a job. At the end of the job, they file unemployment in a particular state, the state they worked in, their home state, wherever it might be. And all of a sudden, that raises a flag, and the owner has a spotlight on them, or I should say the employer, not the owner. The employer has a spotlight on them that they've been employing this person, and then it'll be scrutinized and determined that that person should have been a W-2, and then that employer is going to be fined, penalized, and have to pay back taxes and unemployment, payroll taxes. It's a mess. So ultimately, my encouragement, my big message is, if you're an employer, be legit. Hire people, safety professionals, if you're a third-party company, as W-2 employees, get them benefits, pay their taxes, do everything legitimately. If you're an employee and you're looking for work and somebody offers you a 1099 role, run the other direction. That's my advice for you. Hopefully this is helpful. If you have questions, pop us a message on LinkedIn. I'm happy to have this conversation with anybody. This is a really hot topic right now. And frankly, and I want to make this statement, an opinion, any third-party company out there who's 1099 people who are not licensed safety consultants with their own companies, shame on them. Hopefully that's helpful. We'll see you next Wednesday.